Hello and good morning, everybody, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobby Richardson. I come from Australia. I actually was born in New Zealand, and I am a channeler and a seer. So I channel through information for the ascension process, for people who are going through the shadow work, people who are wanting to align to their authentic self, and so forth. I have a team of guides, you might call them, Pleiadians, Acrturians, and the CYANIANS, who are Pleiadians that are closely monitoring all the different levels of perspectives of realities. So they live very closely to source energy. In any case, I will probably today just channel through. I'm feeling the CYANIANS more than anything. I also can channel through Mother Earth and the collective, the humanities collective. We'll see what happens with that. But there's been some, it feels like a settling down more of the people. And an understanding that there has been, there's a lot more of us now starting to undersee or see through the lies and the deceptions and stuff like that. So the next narrative would be, how does this move forward? And that's why I called it It's Your Turn, because it was like a feeling of, okay, the people will probably be making the new steps towards this new reality that we're carving at the moment. And the reason why they're bringing it to that is because we can't rely on anything else. Like, you can't, there's so many fake things happening out there. It's just absolutely unbelievable. So the only thing we can rely on now is our inner world and who we are, and we didn't know that. So we've been doing the work of that for the last few years, especially since 2020. I'm really going inwards, and now it's shifting to, okay, what kind of gameplay do we want to play here? What do we want to really focus in on creating? So they're bringing me to just practical ways of creating something new. And one of the big pushes, there's two big pushes that are happening at the moment. One of them is because of the push of surviving and food and all that, resources of nutrients and things like that. Are we getting our nutrients from, the big shops and stuff like that, grocery stores and stuff? Or, does it have to be organic and all that sort of thing? And then they're showing me a lot more people around the world are going to start realizing through their own feeling of love for not only themselves but the outer world, and wanting this to progress, planting what we need to eat, what's individually for ourselves. Just at the moment, because we're all compartmentalized, remember, most of us compartmentalized into these living spaces. So there's fences up everywhere, there's suburbs. We're not like a community where there's no fences and we're sharing and helping and guiding and all that sort of thing yet. We're still compartmentalized into these very logical based, that's what logic does, right? When it's in charge, compartmentalizes everything. So in any case, I'm just realizing my chat bar isn't up. Oh, well, I don't know what's happened with that. So if anyone is on the chat bar, or if they can't find the chat bar, so sorry about that. I don't understand what went wrong there, because I've just done my normal routine and I've just looked up and went, hang on a sec, there's no chat bar, which is interesting. Anyway, so sorry about that. I'll see if I can fix it for next time. But let's get back into this. So here we are, compartmentalized, because the logic has taken over for so many eons, right? And this is what logic does. It's like safeguarding everything, because logic wants to safeguard, well, it safeguards their bodies and it safeguards this reality. It's a beautiful thing because it keeps it, in a separated manner so that we can have an adventure. It's gorgeous. But when it's overpowered, when it's taking over, when those that are in charge are really into their logic in a big way and not even taking one notice of their intuitive self or their inner feelings or anything like that, or their feminine, their imagination or whatever, it means that those that are guiding us, because we're looking outside ourselves for everything because we're coming from our logic, are pushing us into protect. So we've ended up separating ourselves even from, it's like emerges, like the world from a logical standpoint of view is supposed to be separated so that we can have an adventure, but it's taken over so much that it's separated everything. So we now have suburbs where we've got high fences because we've got to protect, right? Our overprotect everything, and then there's no room for intuitive feeling with people and gravitating towards the right people, moving to live next to us. So we have neighbors that we don't get along with and all sorts of things where we're not intuitively moving into a collaborated field of people that work together well. That's another topic that they've been bringing up as well, as relationships, which is shifting as well. So let's get back to here we are in these separated little compartmentalized housing places, pieces of land that we have. And they said to progress, like start to grow your own vegetables in the backyard and the ones that you want for yourself, just so that it's a small step towards the right direction. Grow your own food, and then out the front, grow the food, any food, like even if you don't want to put like a vegetable garden there, grow a lemon tree, but let that be free for anyone to eat from. Like once that starts to happen, the people are starting to really take their power back. We're no longer needing to go to a grocery store for absolutely everything. Of course, there's still going to be those times where we have to for certain things because we might not have everything around us that's helping us, but it's going to pull a lot of energy away from the supermarkets and so forth and put them in our front yards and allowing something to be shared. So, you could, if you really wanted to if you felt like you needed to keep, your place safe, then fence off the bits that you want safe for now. Eventually, they're saying that those fences will fall. Those fences will come down. We will start to trust ourselves enough to be able to talk to our neighbours and situate ourselves in places of living standards and stuff like that, where we can actually say no to that energy and say yes to that energy, and then meaning different people. And then the ones that you say no to will probably move away because they don't feel like they're in the right place themselves. So it's not a matter of being mean or anything to anyone, but there's these certain standards of your own right and who you can collaborate with that creates a better energy field for you to move on. So or live in a higher frequency. That's what I mean by move on. So there's that's changing. And so you might see a lot more posts of people with newer ideas of corporations where we can all gather and everyone's sharing their food, turning libraries into places that we can actually share information, not, with talking to each other, not all having to be quiet and all that sort of stuff. There's all these different changes that can happen where we start to see advantages instead of disadvantages in our reality that's surrounding us at the moment. So we can progress towards something that's a lot more conducive to a new earth experience, or a feeling like we're unified instead of separated, feeling like we're sharing instead of hoarding, a feeling, you know, that we're here to share our stories. And you know, like the elderly that go to the libraries and stuff, they could be talking to people. I have seen one post on this, and I really do agree with it. It was over in, and they liked this post, so I'm bringing it up, over in, I think it was in Holland. It could be somewhere over in a Europe country, where they did bring, they could, it's not just renting out books, they could literally rent out people or something. So people would be there with their elderly people with their amazing stories. And then, you know, that's a really good conducive way to gather information from our past just gone, where they did actually used to, you know, have to share food a little bit more, and they had different ways about things because there was no internet. So communication styles was a lot different, and so forth. In any case, getting back to the channeling and stuff like that, there's also going to be a change or a shift within our own relationships. And I did actually write something down about this one. I might pull that up so that I'll try to read it. Problem is I'm dyslexic and my reading's not the greatest. There's a couple of messages actually. First one was really cute. It says, "You are true beings of wonder. You are capable of seeing your world through less value than you actually are." That was a message straight from a being. I don't actually know who that was. It was somebody who was speaking through me, and I don't feel like it was the CYANIANS or the Pleiadians. I felt like it was somebody else. But whoever it was that came through me, they said, "You are the true being of wonder," which is so interesting how they wrote that, or how they said it to me. "You are capable of seeing your world through less value than you actually are." And I'm like, wow, yeah, we are. Where a cat is seeing its true value because it's living in the moment, and a dog sees itself as a dog. It doesn't think about it. It just is. It acts and it is. And they're saying that humans, we are walking this earth with less value than what we truly are. And that's what's allowed somebody to say, we will be your leaders, and we will teach you how to go this way by punishment if you go that way. But once we take that value back of ourselves, that all starts to shift, because we go, well, we don't need you to guide us anymore. We know where we're going. We have an understanding of where we're born here as a whole being. We were whole when we were born, and we already had everything within us that was going to grow up into an adult, and everything outside of us that was on planet Earth to be able to nurture us, for us to be able to say we know where we're going. But back to relationships, duality relationships. True value arises from our own acceptance of our logical world and intuitive world. The more of us who embrace both will give rise to a new empowered relationship, where we embrace our strengths as the feminine or masculine, and any lack within ourselves as the strength of the other person, through the love, through loving another person. Like, if I'm extremely feminine, so I'm always seeked very masculine males, because I want to love that part of them so much that they rise and become a real true masculine. And I want them to see the true value in my feminine traits that they don't, we have both in us, but they don't exercise as much. This gives much more understanding, as we are not forming relationships through codependency, meaning, oh my God, I'm in lack of, you have to fill this gap. And usually codependency comes from the lack of your own strengths as well. You're hiding even the strengths of who you are as a feminine person. You haven't even embraced that. So you're looking for that in the other person as well. But through, so yeah, for forming, sorry, this then gives more understanding as we are not forming relationships from codependency, but through our own self-value, giving us the ability to acknowledge the strength in another. And then it was really interesting because I wrote that this morning, going into this, feeling into what these changes are going to happen, and that there's going to be new relationships coming in through empowered people, not through codependency anymore. And the love is going to be a mutual thing of each other, and then allowing one to rise and become the guiding force for a change or a shift. And as the feminine will say, yes, I know how to do this. And then the masculine comes in and goes, yeah, I know how to put this to action. And let me do the action so I feel empowered as a masculine person. And the feminine comes along and goes, hey, we need to shift this because I feel a shift in the energies at the moment, and let me guide you towards something different so we don't keep on repeating the same thing over and over and over again. But I did write that this morning above another message that I wrote, and I read the message underneath afterwards, and it actually kind of moves, it actually goes along with it. So I'll read you this bit as well. Peace comes when your logical mind is still enough to listen to your intuitive mind, which receives messages from the soul through the imagination. This is also reflected in our relationships, as the masculine is the protector of the physical world, learning to value the feminine enough to listen to her when she intuitively feels a shift that's coming from new frequencies, allowing both to explore new adventures that expand one's soul instead of repeating the same stuck story, because the masculine has been given too much power and thinks that he knows how to shift the story as well as protect and ground it. So that was really interesting. So the masculine has been given way too much power, and we're looking to the masculine as our guides or leaders or people that are in charge, to even those that are feminine who are in charge, very masculine, feminine people. And they can only know from the past and project into the future. They can't, they spin us in a loop of repeating the same stories. It's just a different kind of story. Yeah, we're slowly progressing, but we could progress a lot more if we allow the intuitive feminine side of ourselves to be to allow them to rise and say, no, you have to listen to me now because I'm the one that knows how to shift the story. And I'm the one that can change it up to something even better than this. And then the masculine goes, whoa, better? Wow, what's that? And then, and he's ready to listen. And then the feminine speaks up and goes, let's imagine it this way. And then the masculine goes, hey, I might have an action. I might have something physically that I'm able to do to put that into an action. I know what to buy. I know where to go. And I know the groundedness of this, of how to bring this story into action and actually have it in a physical world. See, the dynamics of our relationships are shifting because we're now learning to become more peaceful within our minds, within ourselves, acknowledging both sides of our hemispheres, and then it reflects outwards. And it doesn't matter if you're born female, masculine, whatever. It doesn't matter. The feminine is the feminine. The masculine is the masculine. And some of us are more inclined to be one or the other. And a lot of us are, actually. And then there's a few of us that are out there that have been born with both, very equal, and they can find that equalness in another. It's really interesting. Like, there is a shift in relationships and the dynamics of everything, but to move forward in this in a procreative way, I don't even know if that's the word, but in a way that moves forward creatively, instead of confusion, which is because the masculine that's in charge is trying to keep humanity in a lower conscious field, when they realized that we're coming more into balance, they wanted to throw that confusion out to us so that we're still confused and look to them for help. But their confusion is just looking stupid. Like, to me, it looks silly. Whatever they're doing is just like, really? Like, the more aware and awake we become, the more sillier they look. Yeah. And then they went on to, there was another note that I wrote down as well that I want to bring up. And that was to do with going through what they call the eye of the needle. Now, the reason why all this is coming up and saying that it's time for the people to step up is because they bring up the meek shall inherit the earth, which is a passage through the Bible, but they're saying that in a place of people who were weak once before are going to start to find their strength within themselves, not looking outside themselves. And then they are empowered and they start to stand up for who they really truly are, who's their authentic self. And then when they realize their power actually goes beyond those that are in charge, then they start to become the guides for others and so forth, shining our light, right? So those that were more empathic and, seemed to be really meek and cried a lot and all that, didn't know their place. They were still looking outside themselves for validation. When they go inside themselves, realize, oh my God, my empathicness is actually gifting me new messages, is actually showing me that I can feel into who I can trust and not. I can see through the lies. I can see through the deception now. I can move this way instead of moving what way they're telling me to move. And then we are empowered, see? And there's so much more empowerment that's coming in for humanity as we start to take that back. But they also brought up at this very moment, because we are going from one extreme and then bringing in our unified fields of understanding who we are within our outer world and our inner world, our feelings and our outer world, then where there's a moment, they're saying, like, it's like going through the eye of the needle. And they're calling that precision focus. So it's like we know where we're going now, like we really know where we're going now. And there's no frayed bits of energy or anything like that. There's no, oh, maybe I should try this and that. No, we know we're going to move towards creating this new reality, this new, more conducive, unified unity, within humanity's consciousness, trusting each other, trusting ourselves, abundance for all of that sort of stuff. And then that ends up becoming this precision focus. And that precision focus brings your energy into what they call the eye of a needle, which is meaning that you're not scattered anymore into trying, trusting those that are outside of you only. You know who you are and you know where you're going, and that will align you with going through the eye of the needle, and then you can explore so much more outside on the other side of that needle, because all of a sudden you're like, wow, I can trust myself exploring love connection. I can trust myself exploring, building a business, because if I feel, I now know 100% that I know where I'm going, as well as I have specific strengths within myself to put up boundaries for my feminine side and my masculine side. And if anything comes at me like that, then I just, I can hold my energy together to focus in on where I really want to go. Something to do with that. To know where you are going frees you to let go enough and trust your choices, because it's through our choices that we align with new realities. So we're then expanded enough to choose way more, right? Way more. Yeah, it's really interesting. And I just see what else comes through. So that they really are bringing up that the people are going to take these next new steps. We're no longer, it's when we start taking, it's when the people start taking the new steps, the ones that have done the work, shadow work and understanding, they have more power. They don't trust those that have been pulling the wool over their eyes and deceiving them anymore. They're the ones that are going to take these new steps and going, we're in a really good dynamic relationship now. Let's use our little piece of land with our house on it to, take it, to share some food or something with other people. I have seen this done. I haven't seen it specifically, but I know that it was done in a hometown close to me, in a suburb close to me, a place called Budrum. They had a street where the whole street decided to, I don't know whether they followed one person that started doing it, and it generally can only take a couple of people who really back this up, and then the next minute you have a lot more people, and they had the vegetables growing just on the verge at the front, and allowed people to take whatever they needed. So at least they were feeding their street, right? Then when we start to become more unified, we can then collectively come together, say in those live areas, and share ideas, and then say, let's come together and use such and such place. I don't know, somebody's old barn or some sort of hall or something like that, or even old churches or something. I don't know, where we can all bring our food and just share it, all the access food that we have, and share it. And it's no longer, needed as a paid thing. It's a swapping thing, a swapping idea. You've got some corn, I've got some strawberries, that sort of thing. Let's switch and swap them, as well as you could use cash or money as well, that sort of thing. But at least it's starting to, ideas will come. There's definitely people out there, more so than me. Like, I'm a messenger, right? But there's people out there that have really valuable, really cool ideas that they can initiate on how to share food. Probably some of the farmers are holding some of these codes on, how it was all done way back when we were unified. Because there was a moment in time way back when humanity was unified. And we just have to reawaken that again. Don't put any energy into feeling that the ones that are in charge will poo-poo or put laws up or whatever. They can't. They have put laws up before that never took hold. Let's put it that way. Like, even in my reality, there was laws that were put up, stupid ones, just then, and the people just ignored them. They it didn't take hold. Like, it's only when humanity starts to go into fear that it takes hold. But if everyone just keeps doing what they're doing, it never takes hold. There was a law where there was only two motorbikes at a time that were supposed to ride together, because they were putting the fear through everyone that too many bikie gangs were coming up or something like that. But what it was there was a lot of people riding motorbikes, that were starting to do really beautiful work, like riding for sponsoring money to help with people that were needing help, and that sort of thing. So they started to, this is quite a few years ago, would have been when I think I was in Malini, so maybe 10 years ago, and they tried to enforce a law that only two bikes were allowed to ride at one time together. Stupid law. There was even a law, you'd just laugh at this. There was even a law that was tried to be passed that was no more tattoos. I'm like, what? And there was a law when someone was feeling uncomfortable. This would have been when I was with my girl's dad. So we're talking maybe 15 years ago or even more. But there was a stupid law that tried to pass that was, well, they did actually pass. They were like said on the news and everything, where you weren't allowed to kiss in a public area at all. I remember I was with my husband in a public pool, and we just, you know, how you just swim together, and we kissed once, and this young lad with his whistle blew his whistle out, and no kissing in public. I'm like, what? Because that was because I think two a gay couple was, and someone was feeling uncomfortable about it, and the politicians decided. I don't know. It was just ridiculous. But this is what I mean by these laws have been said. There was a law passing that you could get fined some crazy amount of money um, for kids walking to school or something like that by themselves. And it was just ridiculous rules where they used to gather. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's all these laws that didn't work. And so we don't need to listen to them, is what I'm saying. I'm probably going to have to take this video off monetizing because, man, I don't even know how far I've gone here. Hopefully it won't get taken down and I won't get a warning. Anyways, carry on. Let's see what else is coming up for humanity in our new reality that we're creating, right? So no longer waiting for them to make the next move. See, this is what we've been stuck in. Humanity has been stuck in waiting for them to make the next move so that we can fight against it. And really all that's done is made more victimized circumstances and more, perpetrating circumstances. So it didn't really work. That's why they're asking for us as the people, united, to stop looking for them and what move they're going to make next and start making our moves next. Start making what we want to do first. Some situations in relationships and that you won't be able to do what I'm suggesting with the garden. And there's going to be other people, you might be, moving towards this new earth with a whole other idea than what I'm suggesting. But bring up those ideas, start to put them on the table. Don't be afraid to mention them to your partners and to other people in your community. Start to develop them. Start to, even if you want to go into, if you don't feel, you're ready for that, just start to implement those ideas a little bit at a time, day to day. That's what I'm doing with my, I'm finally going to be doing these classes, teaching people how to still their mind and learn how to channel. And so that, I'm up to class 2 at the moment. So you chip away at the businesses that you're going towards, but remember the next step, we're eventually the next step's going to have to start to be the people. And you can see it reawakening over in the European countries because they've been really squeezed. And sometimes it's when you're really, really squeezed that you started, that's it. But it's not going to come through fighting so much as showing that we can create a better world through something else. Because when you're fighting, all your attention goes in on that, and then you're fueling the problem instead, and then more laws start to come in, or it becomes such a disarray that it doesn't actually move towards the higher frequencies or the new Earth's frequencies. So that's why they're saying just say no to that and show others that there's another way, that sort of thing. Yeah. Wow, I'm really kind of disappointed that the chat bar isn't up because I was thinking of doing some free individual tarot readings, but never mind. It's just bizarre how that happened. Let's see what else is coming through. But until then, I have got, don't forget, I am an intuitive counselor. I've got another video coming up soon that I'm actually pre-recording, and I'll be live on Thursday as well with another big question. We're going to ask big questions and then pull some tarots to answer those big questions. And then I'm always live on Tuesday as well. If anyone wants to know my calendar, see what else is coming up though. Yeah, it feels like a very grounded moment at the moment. There's not a lot of messages coming through for contact just now. It's more of a grounded feeling of humanity trying to figure out how to live conducively, thrive instead of just survive. So that's the energy that's swirling around humanity's consciousness at the moment overall. Not to say that you won't get messages from beings and all of that. I'm just saying an overall energy at the moment. And relationship dynamics shifting, whether you pull apart and then move on to someone who's more conducive to your energy, or whether it starts the separation that you've already gone through pulls back and both are more enlightened or more understanding of themselves, depending. So yeah, we are all going through different stories, but still the underlining energies at the moment, for some reason, are really helping humanity to shift into how can we're asking, how can we shift into really ground these new utopia feelings, unity, all of that. And so you might be looking at somebody else who's gone off the grid, how they implemented it. There's still an awareness, though, of, you could go off the grid and you could start this whole franchise and be with people and all that. But if you're still in your logical mind heaps, you can know one thing, but to really implement it means to really feel it, to really understand at a deeper level within yourself. Because otherwise you'll gravitate all these people together and you'll still be fighting for who's the leader, who's got the most, I know more. And then you end up just in this same dynamic in a smaller, you might be growing your own organic food and stuff, but you're still trying to show other people that you should be in charge. The people that are the guides at every moment just will stand up, say their piece, and then move back into the circle again, and then allowing somebody else to stand up and say their piece and move back into the circle again. So yeah, when it comes to like messages coming through me, I might stand up and go, here's the message, but then I go back into, well, the ground aspects of peeling the potatoes and and all that sort of stuff, helping out with the grounded stuff and in any best way that I can. So no one is more hierarchy or important than another, and everyone has a piece to share that has an idea that can improve. And some ideas might not work and some ideas might, but we allow an expansion of the collective coming together and being able to guide and then fall back into the collective back again. And then we are much happier in who we are because we've allowed to express ourselves and our gifts, and we're also part of the community. So that's another really interesting core message that's coming through for the higher frequencies. I've seen, because I have actually seen that they're showing me a place called Crystal Waters that's near me when I was living in Mullaney, and that I remember having discussions with the men there, that were in charge, and they're all like, I don't know, fighting amongst themselves. And I said, when you come in unity within your mind, when you start to, I knew even back then, this that fighting each other is still bringing in the same dynamics as what it was out there, but we didn't have the energies coming at us at the moment to awaken the whole then. So, kudos to them for starting all the organic stuff and, living off the grid and all of that, even if it was in a very masculine kind of orientated, fighty kind of a way. But it could have, it wasn't to me what the new earth was going to look like. It was interesting though that I remember talking to quite a few of the guys, and explaining to them there has to be unity within yourself before you move into something like that for real. But yeah, now the energies are shifting and the shadow work's coming. And so the females have risen, and now the masculine are needing to take back their power so that they don't rely on the females being the masculine and feminine, sorry, the feminine being the masculine. Where they acknowledge the beauty of what the feminine is bringing. And there's no, well, I get paid more because I do the action, and you get paid less because you are the receiver of new information. There is an equal partake in understanding everyone has a piece of the puzzle. So there's no, everyone's equal, just like within your own brain. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there and see if there's anything else. We are getting a lot of help as well. Oh, okay. New message just come through then. I was looking at the angel on my thing and this message come through. There are guides and angelic forces. There's benevolent beings and other frequencies that they're saying you can hear us clearer now. We can start to gift you even more information to help you because the clarity is becoming more, because the up leveling of humanity's consciousness as a whole has done, more of us have done the shadow work, more of us are coming into balance. So clarity gets more and more clearer as we go up, move into these higher frequencies, and it is getting clearer, they're saying. So they can feel the difference. And if they can feel the difference, that means, we're starting to close the gap between us and them. And that means that in closing that gap, there will become that, one-on-one real contact that happens. But they can feel a shift, and it's no backsies now, like no returns. The work is working. The work is working. It's been done. So kudos to everybody. I love it how they say kudos. In any case, that was more Pleiadian, from the Pleiadians. I could feel their energy coming through, and the angelics. Anyways, okay. So love you guys heaps until next Thursday. And if I have any more snippets of information coming through, please don't live in fear. There's going to be a lot more of these fear-based kind of realities. And I'm not saying that something might not happen, but please don't live in fear, because as soon as you live in fear, you're already moving towards the problem. If you say that, I know myself now and I deserve to live on earth and I've got so much to share, then you will always be put in in the right place where if any disaster happens, it will break away those that are ready to move either onto the new frequency without this body, or whether they are leaving this plane because they aren't in the frequency of the higher new earths that are coming in, or utopias that are coming in, and they can't handle it. So either way, no fear, right? Love you guys heaps. Bye.